thought they could purchase me. They thought they could purchase Africa. They were mistaken. 3 weeks ago, a letter sat on my desk. A letter that turned everything around. Not only for Burkina Faso, but for the whole continent. I was in my office reading security reports when my aide handed me an envelope. It was labeled Confidential IT Diplomatic Correspondence. It was a message from Benjamin Netanyahu's government. On initial impression, it seemed like an aid package, but it wasn't aid, it was a bribe. They dangled Burkina Faso, $1.2 billion, more than our entire national budget. In return, they wanted silence. They wanted me to desist from criticizing their policies. They wanted me to persuade other African leaders to go soft. They wanted me to become their mouthpiece within the African Union. And then came the insult, billions more. If I vowed not to lay a finger on their business networks throughout Africa, remember that they were so desperate to guard their empire that they believed they could purchase one soldier silent. I've read that letter once, twice, 3 times. Each time my rage grew because they did not realize who I am. I did not fight a revolution to become another puppet of the foreign powers. I did not endanger my life toppling corruption only to become corrupt myself. I am a soldier, and soldiers do not bargain with those who attempt to compromise their mission. My mandate is clear: African sovereignty, economic, political, strategic. When I accepted responsibility for this country, I vowed a promise. No more foreign meddling. No more exploitation masquerading as partnership. No more trading our dignity for short-term gain. That letter was a test, and I would not fail it. But pressure did not cease. Soon go-betweens came, officials from other countries, so-called friendly advisors, respected statesmen, each one saying the same thing. Consider the gains. Spoke of glistening highways, new hospitals, advanced weapons, a strong, wealthy Burkina Faso, but always with the same stipulation: tone down the criticism. That's when I realized this wasn't one letter. This was a campaign, one that was coordinated, strategic, calculated. They believed they had learned all about me. What would make me fold? But they were wrong. So I did something they never anticipated. I held a press conference, and I read that letter, word for word, all the demands, every stipulation, every billion-dollar bribe. The room fell silent, and then the world erupted. In hours, the news spread all over Africa, and panic gripped Tel Aviv, for their secret plan was no longer so secret anymore. But I wasn't done. With eyes cast on to the cameras, I spoke the truth. They think our dignity has a price tag. They think African leaders are for sale. They think we will safeguard their empire while they exploit our people. Today, we show them they are wrong. I held up that letter for the world to see. And in that instant, everything shifted. In 14 nations, the phrases "Africa is not for sale" trended. Mali started reviewing Israeli contracts. Niger recalled its ambassador. Chad suspended negotiations. Canaan, normally quiet, spoke up in defense. South Africa named it a master class in dignity. But the strongest response was from the youth. In Senegal, students protested for transparency. In Kenya, young people started campaigns calling out foreign connections. Throughout West Africa, artists painted resistant murals. From Cairo to Cape Town, universities exploded in solidarity. This was not about Burkina Faso anymore. This was Africa standing together as one. The youth called themselves the uncompromised generation. A generation that demanded honesty, demanded accountability, demanded dignity in all international alliances. And for the first time in decades, Africa was no longer whispering no. Africa was shouting it. The response was worldwide. In Israel, Netanyahu was enraged. Traoré made a private agreement into a weapon against us, he said. France rushed to guard its interests. The United States discreetly inquired as to whether this was merely the beginning, and China remained silent. But their silence spoke volumes. They realized respect, not manipulation, would determine Africa's destiny. Because this is not the Africa they used to dominate. We are informed now. We are networked now. We are one now. When one of us rises, the entire continent notices instantly. Their playbook no longer applies. They can't divide us with bribes. They can't silence us with aid. They can't treat us like children. We get their game. We just won't play it. The aftermath was turbulent. Security clamped down. Foreign intelligence swooped in. Economic pressure mounted, trade holds, aid reductions, banking issues. And then Africa came in for Africa. Nigeria provided new trade agreements. Ghana provided alternative banking channels. South Africa widened diplomatic connections. And we learned something strong. Africa assisting Africa is effective. Days afterward, I addressed students in Bobo Dioulasso. The hall was packed. The electricity was palpable. I informed them for decades. They instructed us to remain silent, to receive what was provided, to say thank you while being disregarded, to defend foreign enterprise while our citizens endured. But now they turn to us with fear, for they know what is done. When Africa awakens, then I put one question to them. Should we return to quiet, or should we speak more loudly? The response shook the building. 5,000 voices shouting as one. That was the voice of a generation refusing to be sold. But the youth demanded more than words. They demanded action, so I provided them with a blueprint. We'll scrutinize every agreement. We will insist on transparency in every transaction. We will trade with each other before trading with the world. We will cease to export raw materials and begin constructing factories. We will cease to be suppliers and become manufacturers. The applause became louder. Then I said some more. We will establish African development banks. We will set up African satellites. We will construct universities that compete with the best in the world. We will build African pharmaceutical firms. We will create African centers of technology. Every bow elicited deafening applause because they knew real independence is not political, it is economic. Everything has changed since that day. Shady deals now threaten to be exposed. Exploitative contracts are questioned. Attempts to split us only bring us together faster. Even within my cabinet, some were petrified. What if they cut aid? They posed, and I replied, Amy, aid with strings is not aid. It is control. Any relationship requiring silence is not partnership. It is subordination. 5 African presidents called me within a week, called me directly. How do we do what you did? They asked, and I explained the truth to them. You become unafraid. Fear is our final shackle. Generations were conditioned to be thankful for foreign notice, to accept any conditions, to never insist on equality, and shattering physical ones. Western media attempted to spin it, but they failed. We are not alone. We are linked to our people, linked to our values, linked to our future. Then that link is our strength. The business community panicked. Stocks plummeted, but they soon learned to adapt because we are not opposed to business. We are opposed to exploitation. Good companies are welcome. Exploiters will be revealed. Israel believed they could silence us. Instead, they woke up a continent. Regional institutions are reconsidering alliances. Our unions are insisting on better conditions. Civil society is uncovering bribery. Investors are learning transparency creates stability. Their message was blunt. We believe you can be bribed. And my response was more blunt. We cannot, we will not, and we will unmask anybody who attempts to. This is not anti-anybody. This is pro-Africa, pro-dignity, pro-sovereignty, pro-independence. Foreign powers now have new rules. Treat us as equals or lose access. Respect our sovereignty or watch us develop. Without you, do business honestly or relocate to another continent. For Africa is not for sale. Not our land, not our resources, not our people, not our dignity. Never was, never will be. And any politician who has the temerity to betray us will be held accountable to the people. This transformation transcends politics. It is generational. Young Africans are starting businesses, deploying technologies, crafting art, honoring identity. They are not asking for permission. They are not seeking foreign approval. They are constructing the Africa of tomorrow. Today they sought to purchase one president. Instead, they awakened 1.4 billion Africans. That was their heir. And that is our triumph. The revolution is ongoing, but not with guns. With dignity, not with violence, but with truth, not with foreign sanction. This is Ibrahim Traore, and this is our moment. Africa is awakening, and we are just beginning.